Hi, I'm Mike with Ware Landscaping, and we are here with literally my all-time favorite customer, Mark. We did a huge drainage project for him 3 years ago, and we offer a 10-year, no questions asked guarantee that you'll never have sitting water in your yard after we do a project. And I kind of just wanted to do like a 3-year follow-up video with you on how everything's working and what it's like since we've put the system in.
Well, first off, I really want to thank you. This yard is beautiful because of you.
Oh.
It used to be a lake, and now it's a fun yard that my kids can play in. We can entertain our families, and this is kind of the dream backyard we wanted, and you helped take that to the next level by solving that problem. The only thing that I would say that wasn't even an issue, but I always like to point that out, is where the drain system goes. There was, like, on the hottest days, I'm talking like upper 90s or whatever, and we have a sprinkle system for the yard, but sometimes it would have a little like dormant grass.
Okay.
So, anybody who sees that might freak out or, have concern, but, it totally goes away. And that's probably because, right, like you said, it's
because gravel, like there's a bunch of gravel under there that helps absorb the water, and that's one of those things where the grass can go a little bit dormant in that area. Totally normal.
Yeah.
It's just going to kind of speed up that process when it's really, really warm out.
Yeah. So that, other than that, I mean, it's come back spectacular.
Yeah.
Another time we had, since it goes into the
storm sewer.
Yeah, the storm sewer. When the storm sewer backed up, we had a little water come in.
Yeah.
Nothing major.
Yeah.
And the instant it went down at the street, it disappeared from the yard.
For
so
sure.
I mean, spectacular.
That's kind of like one of those risks that we run into when we're doing a system like this. Is we put releases like in the front, and then we'll have all the catch basins will actually act as releases too. So if the storm sewer is ever backing up, it can then kind of release into the yard, and then the second it dissipates, the water then will go into there. But that's good to point out, because that's like a real
definitely.
thing that can totally
And the
happen.
other thing too is now my neighbor, whose backyard used to flood, and you guys put a drain right by our fence, connecting yards. Now he can put a shed in.
That's awesome.
So he's so excited, because before he was like, I want to put a shed, but it floods back there, and he wanted a riding mower, so now he bought the riding mower. They're installing the shed, all because of your drain system. So that's fantastic.
And that's a real common question that people will ask is this going to affect the neighbors? And is it going to make it worse for the neighbors? And that's totally, I always tell people, no, it's actually going to improve it, because all the water that would usually run over into the neighbors is going to go into the system and then go out to the front, and it actually helps them, which is awesome. That makes me feel good, because it's a good thing for everyone. And is there any other things that you kind of?
No, that's it. I'm so happy with the system. I think you're professional. You stand behind. Thank God I haven't had anything, but I know, like, you're here 3 years later. So
you know what's something? I remember when we were installing it. I remember when we were installing the system. It was probably one of the hottest days of the year. I remember it was in August, and probably like a week later. Remember, a few pieces of sod died?
And you came out right away, you fixed it. Anything that I didn't like, you fixed extra stuff. So that was the greatest thing, because while you guys were here, I was like, hey, could you fix this or do this?
Remember
You did. You put the golf. Everything has been, I mean, I'm super, super happy. I can't thank you enough, Mike.
Thanks,
thank you.
Mark. And I think that's a good thing to point out. Like, sometimes when the weather is really warm, like, there could be a few pieces of sod on the top of the pallet that get really heated up, and we stand behind it. And if we ever need to, replace anything, that's totally something we do. Just trying to. Anything else that you?
No, I think I wish I would have called you sooner. I lived here for 3 years with all the water in the backyard, and I didn't know how to fix it. I found you on the internet, so I wish I would have called you sooner.
You're literally like such a. We appreciate you so much. What about price? How were we with, like? I think that's we're not the cheapest option.
Yes.
That's a really common. People are like, oh, well, can you match this? Can you do that? And a lot of time we can't, because our systems are.
So I am very particular about my yard. I'm very hands-on with my yard, and I researched you and multiple companies, and the reason I found you was because there was another company in another state that does what you did, and I actually offered to pay him to come down, and he wouldn't come down, and then by the stroke of God or whatever, I found you somehow on the internet.
Awesome.
and you had the exact system I wanted.
Oh, that's awesome.
So when I saw the price, I did get other quotes, but the quality of the other pipes are you can't even compare it.
Yeah.
They're flimsy, they collapse after a couple of years. You know, here I am 3 years later. That's why I wanted to really speak out to help other people that are on the fence. You know, don't let the price bother you, because it's a long time investment.
That's
you know,
great.
you're going to be in your backyard having memories. You won't have any anxiety.
Yeah.
And you know, so that was one of the key things with your company, is finding you, seeing the process, and then 3 years later, I'm happier than I was
That's great.
when I did it. So price, like, to me, you know, is it a steep price? Yes, but it's an investment that it cures, right? If you had an ailment and somebody had the cure, you would pay anything for that cure. So that's how I feel
so
about
good.
it.
I think another question too people ask is like about the grading, and I always really put an emphasis on the grading, because that's what maximizes the system. If everything is graded to the system, it's going to be fully utilized. And for like example with your yard, the grading was a very big part of it. Can you see, like, I'm a dork, and when it's raining really hard, I'll literally go through my yard and take videos in the rain like a crazy person, which it makes me excited, because then it can show people how well it's working.
Yeah.
But when it's raining really hard, can like, because of the way everything's graded to it.
Yeah,
like,
you can see like some of the water like going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
it's
great.
And the best is too, I kind of nerd like you, and I love when I have a riding mower,
Yeah.
and I can feel like where it is. So I know the exact pattern of the whole yard, and I feel comfortable, because, you know, I had water accumulating in the back of the yard. I had water on the side, and now the whole yard is dry.
That's awesome.
And it's all because of your system.
And you know, you mentioned too, I remember you said, like, with your kids, like, and at my house, we have literally the exact same system, and just not as amazing of a house and yard as yours, which hopefully one day we will. But you said how your kids can't even really notice that it's in there, and when people come over, they can't even notice. Is that pretty?
Yeah, so that's the cool thing, is because the drains are in the grass. You can't really see it once the grass is growing.
Yeah.
And then, when we do have some people over, we'll say, hey, just be mindful of these. So if you're running around, but they're green caps.
Yeah.
It's hidden, so I love it. Yeah,
Mark,
it's fantastic.
Thanks so much for doing this. You're literally, like, I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you.
You are.
I appreciate it. Everything you did.
All-time favorite customer, buddy.